Welcome back to the 12-Sided Guys. We have Matt playing Pine.
Hi.
Scott playing Joff.
That's me.
Jordan playing Ebby.
Salutations.
Sabrina playing Nari.
Hey there.
And me, Paul, playing this wicked solo on a recorder I bought for $8.
Oh boy.
If anyone can name that song, then I think Matt knows it.
Oh, yeah. 7th grade jazz band. Come on.
Oh, yes. Very good. I just was trying to remember my part. Anyway, thanks for coming in, sitting back, and chilling out with us for an hour or two. If you're already a patron, you can follow along with our maps and battle maps as we go. You can also check out our character sheets and listen to us talk about our recent level up. If you want in on some of this sweet Patreon action, just go to patreon.com/12sided guys. That's 12sided guys. Different tiers get you different things, so make sure you sign up for the content you want. And for everyone else, we're glad you're here with us enjoying the show. You know who else would enjoy the show? Your friends, coworkers, and or family. So let them know we're here, and then you guys can pass the time talking about the campaign so far. Also, any questions you want answered in our second Q&A need to get into us by November 28th. That way we can get those answered up and on the Patreon ASAP. And I need to give a quick shout out to the state of Mississippi. You're the kind of state I'd like to get to know better. I would totally take you out to a nice romantic dinner, but sadly, you're a married woman. Get it? Mrs. Ippy? Anyway, if you already knew that the best way to beat a massive zombie dog is to just blow a whistle, then this podcast is for you. It's the Crystal Codex, episode 39. I was very proud of that Mrs. Ippy joke.
You were.
I mean, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It was also, yeah, it was
I'm
also
pretty sure
really
I
bad.
warned Matt that there was going to be a great joke at the beginning of this one. I did not tell him the joke, but did it disappoint, Matt? Did it disappoint?
I'm so disappointed.
Oh, come
Not
on.
in the joke. I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, yeah.
That's so much worse then.
I've been married for 18 years. I'm used to it.
I love how the joke was, she's a married woman. Nothing to do with the fact that you've been married for 18 years.
Oh, that's true. Anyway. High up in the Glass Mountains in the Tallhart Valley is a small town called Woodbridge. And in one of those small houses, the house of Yastin, a new ally to Nari and the Boys, Joff sits and writes in his notebook.
I found a quiet corner in Yastin's home to write some of my thoughts. I've got a few things that are troubling me. We spent the better part of yesterday traveling through the valley, out to this village called Woodbridge. The Tallharts welcomed us mostly to question Nari about her people. Their leery eyes seemed to be waiting for her to reveal the mystery about her people's seclusion in their summer home. I detect some contempt, maybe not for Nari, but perhaps for the vacuum her people left in the valley. My mind has permanently shifted. It's drawn to Aliyah Brava and the way she was murdered. Where once I saw an opportunity for personal gain in other people, now I only see myself under different circumstances. We may look different, but we're all the same. How could I take advantage of myself? Could I even shed the blood of an Imperial? I'd be killing myself. Or rather, a version of me had I been born under different circumstances. Everything and everyone on Pavantis is connected. We're all one people. National borders are just constructs of society. Ebby's back from the Grove now. I'm not sure what he was doing, but he's walking a little lighter on his feet than he has in a long while. That new prophecy told us that he's the avatar of Lord Moshe. At least that's what I understood. It's such a contradiction. He's made of metal and crystal. I'm not even sure he has a soul. Nothing about him is natural, and yet the Lord of Nature has selected him. Speaking of the lords and ladies, I took on the name of Lady Jaffa as a cruel joke of my fate as the heir, but the more I've thought about good and bad luck, I can't tell the difference between them. I used to see them as two sides of the same coin, but that isn't it. Me calling it bad luck is an unwillingness to accept the constant changing nature of this world. It's not a coin. Fate and luck are a misunderstood painting. We all see the same picture, but we make our own conclusions about their meanings. On our way to Summerhome, we're going to pass through Winterhome, and the Tallharts here told us that some new inhabitants have moved in. Me and my friend, pardon me, scratch that out. My traveling companions and we've effected change wherever we've gone. But I think our story is far from over. I'm rambling at this point. I need to go to sleep.
Ouch. We've been relegated to work colleagues.
Are you reading over my shoulder?
Slight acquaintances.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, hey, good morning, everybody. You are high up in the Glass Mountains. You are mounted up and ready to leave the village of Woodbridge. Yastin has decided to come with you on his Aileton, his kind of gray and black and brown Aileton, much more natural colors than compared to Crumbles. But he is ready to lead you to the edge of Tallhart territory and into Stormfist territory. So before you guys leave Woodbridge, it is the morning. The sun is shining. There's still like a little patches of snow here and there, and in the trees from some of the earlier snowfalls that have happened. But there has not been snow here in the valley for at least a few days since you guys got into the valley. So, is there anything you guys want to do in Woodbridge before you leave?
I think that Pine would have liked to spend a little time in the morning seeing if we can get the prophecy that we heard, see if we can get that nailed down between the four of our memories.
I think it's a good idea. Let's repeat it just that way it's fresh on the mind.
Okay, so I think between the four of us, I think we're pretty close. The prophecy we heard was, the Lord of Wood speaks from afar of things to come, of things to end, and his unknowing avatar, Ebby, now comes with nature's end in hand. He comes with hope and not alone, a fist of storm and shattered band, Nari, a royal line without a throne, Joff, a blade at waist and stick in hand, Moi, the ancient magics buried deep within Pavantis' youngest child, the wounds, though closed, begin to weep, her very core with love defiled. The cure has worked until our day, now barriers begin to break, an angel trapped, his prison fades every time the ground does quake. What was to be may yet hold sway if the angel has his say. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. As far as I recall it, yes.
Sounds good to me.
You know, the only thing I'm a little bit fuzzy on is the whole her very core with love defiled. I'm not sure if that is in reference to maybe the Lord or Lady of Love. But anyway, I something I want to ponder on and understand a bit better.
Who is? I can never remember. Who is the Lord or Lady of Lustful Love? The one who may do some defiling.
Well, there's Lady Zanlius, who is like more of like a familial motherly love. And then there's like Lord Radriel, of course, whom we are very familiar with, who is passion, lustfulness, and erratic, unpredictable love.
Oh, yes. I remember his handsome Squidward avatar.
Oh, stop.
I remember that jawline.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Oh, man.
When it says the youngest child, I think that might be talking about the mountains. If you guys remember that map that we found in the library, it didn't have mountains here. So maybe the Pavantis' youngest child is these mountains, and there's some sort of wound in it. The only thing I can think of that might be a wound would be like an open volcano or something. I really don't know.
Maybe we could have this conversation on the road. Seems like a great way to pass the time.
Yeah.
Burning daylight.
Capital idea.
All right. Very good. So you guys start heading out. Yostin leads the way. It's actually a fairly easy trail to follow. I mean, it doesn't get a lot of use, but it's like a single track, dirt path. You lose it every once in a while in brush and overgrowth because it's not traveled that often. But Yostin's really good at picking out the way. You travel. It's also really easy to follow because basically it follows this river that comes down out of the mountains. And as you guys are traveling, Yostin kind of explains, and Nari, you would know this, that this river basically comes down out of the Stormfist Valley, and it actually comes down out of the mountains right near Summerhome. So if worse comes to worse, you could just follow this river up and into the mountains, and it will eventually take you to Summerhome. But yeah, as you guys travel, you guys can continue talking.
Maybe somebody that knows geology better than me might have a guess on what a wound in these mountains might be.
Right. Ancient magic's buried deep within Pavanta's youngest child. Something... Well, we found the key in the Glass Mountains. Mount Tabor's part of the Glass Mountains.
What if the wound is something we've not yet seen? I've often kind of wondered this. Where do the crystals come from that power so much of what we know of magic and magical technology? We know that they grow the further down you go. Is that the steady weeping of energy that's causing those crystals to form? Who knows, honestly? It's perplexing.
Your words, the crystals grow the farther down you get, closer and closer to the core of the planet. Could that be what's defiling the core with love is crystals?
Oh, maybe. Or that the crystals are the byproduct of this foul love. This toxic love, if you will.
That's great.
My toxic love.
Isn't that Tim Curry too that does the voice acting
Yes,
on that?
I think so. And he's all
so good.
He's all something.
Yeah,
acid
poison
rain.
slime.
No, it's like this
Boiling
awesome kid show that like suddenly busts out with this great rock song.
Awesome. I don't know if I'd call it awesome. The best song from Ferngully is... Go ahead, Matt. I know what you're going to do.
Yo, the name is Batty. The logic is erratic.
Yes, exactly. The Robin Williams bat rap. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. After that tangent, you guys are still traveling. You guys have a couple of days, before you'll get to the dividing line between Tallhart and Stormfist. So you guys can just kind of have this conversation, and we'll just kind of continue to travel until you guys are done talking, and then we'll kind of figure out what happens for the night.
Inexplicably singing songs from Ferngully as we travel.
Again, Pine is that kind of person who just would as you're traveling, he's like, the name is Betty. And so just start humming to himself.
Potato in a jacket.
Toys in the attic.
All right.
Does Nari notice anything different or strange as they're traveling along and getting closer to the Stormfist Valley?
So at this point, you guys are still very much in Tallhart territory. And at this point, it looks like Tallhart territory always does. Lots of forests, evergreen trees with there are deciduous trees as well, but definitely dominated by the pines and the firs that grow up here in this valley. Nothing you can tell different. I'm not even going to make you make a check. It seems like, honestly, you're coming home. Like that's kind of how it would probably feel to Nari. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for Nari, this is very nostalgic, very reminiscent of just coming home.
I think it's an anxious thing for Nari.
Okay.
Hey, Nari. Your tattoo that shattered, how's that looking? Has it had any changes since you've been, heading toward home?
I don't think it's gotten any better, but it hasn't gotten any worse. So I suppose that's a good sign.
And we said that that's a tattoo around your bicep that shattered?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, the name is Betty.
All right, you guys travel on along this river. Every once in a while, when you guys take a break, your beakaboos will take a little dip in the river and swim around a little bit, and then that makes it cold when you get back up and mount back up, but it warms up pretty quick. As you guys travel, the beakaboos seem to keep up with the caribou and the elatons no problem. This first day of travel goes just fine, and in fact, what we're going to do. We're just going to have a group survival check, which means we'll have one person make it with advantage, and then that will determine how well travel goes.
I will assist Abby.
I was going to say, do you want Abby to do that, or do we want Nari to have a go at it?
I have a +5, so if you have a +6, that would be better.
I'm +8.
Oh, well, hell yeah then, dude.
I rolled like a 3 or a 4 like both times I did it last time, so you know.
Oh man,
Nice.
That's okay. I believe in
This
you.
is your week. This is your week.
Rolling the thunder, that's what it is.
As you're preparing for this, Joff is gonna mumble some words to his ancestors to try and give you a little bit of assistance. You can roll a d4 and add it to your dice roll.
Heck yeah, let's do this. So I rolled a 24 on my roll, and then we're going to add 1 to it with the D4 of, is that like a guidance or a blessing or something like that?
Yeah, a level 0 spell guidance.
Cool. So 25.
Oh yeah, no problem. And in fact, Yastin's helping you out as well. As you guys are traveling along the river, looking for the path, all that kind of thing, Yastin will every once in a while say, "Oh, so when the path disappears, he'll say, "Oh, look over," and you've already found it, Ebby. Like you already just naturally have been able to follow the tracks, and you actually, as you are traveling, you see anybody who pays attention can notice that Yastin is actually has a little bit more respect for Ebby. Now, let me just make sure I understand this. Yastin has not seen that Ebby is a deacon yet, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I think the only ones that have seen it have been, was it the people in the grove? Did they notice it?
The elder did pull back your sleeve and touch your metal skin.
Yes.
To give you your blessings, because you have that extra D8 inspiration there.
Oh, yeah.
That will last forever until you use it. So
super rad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you
Save
guys
it for the last fight in the whole campaign.
Oh, that would be epic.
Just remember, a natural one is still a natural one. Okay.
I'm going to probably blow it in like a tavern as we try to like steal a gold purse off of a sleeping guy or something. So,
well, that is how most D&D campaigns go.
That would be true, right?
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just kind of jump ahead a little bit. With that survival roll, you guys are doing fantastic. You actually travel for 3 days. And each night as you're traveling, Yastin and Ebby working together, and Nari too, helping out. Like you people who know nature, and especially people who are aware of this area, you guys are just able to kind of synergize all your skills and find excellent places for camping. You guys sleep really well. In fact, as you guys are camping and traveling, you can't help but think back not only to the mountains that you just came through that were incredibly brutal, but even when you were traveling through the forest outside of Tabery in the rainstorm, that long night that was like 6 episodes. That travel, this is 10 times better than that, even though it is much colder up here. After 3 days, I think I said 3 days is what it's going to take to get to the edge of Stormfist and Tallhart land. After 3 days, you guys are well rested and have had no problems. In fact, at some points, like Yastin might leave the trail for a little bit and come back with some game, some like a deer or maybe a couple of birds of some kind.
A falcon wolf.
A falcon wolf. Yes, he comes back with a falcon wolf, which makes me think of what is it, Eagle Fang from the dojo from Cobra Kai. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, but you guys are eating well. You guys are camping well. You guys are just kind of enjoying this trip together. You feel like Yastin has kind of opened up to you a little bit. Not that he's not like let you into his life, and you guys aren't like playing truth or dare at night or anything like that. But you feel like he has become less of an acquaintance and traveling companion and more of an ally at this point. But we're going to fast forward now, these 3 days of travel.
Can I ask a quick question, Paul?
Yes.
I needed to spend some time with my new and improved sword.
Yes.
So I will have done that by now. Okay,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, you could have done that the first, on that trip, just the first day of travel. Yeah. Pine, as you, that first day as you're traveling, you kind of, you get to know this new sword that also just seems so old and familiar to you. It still has that shape of the classic saber that you've been using for so many years, with that extra, very thin band of metal that runs right down along the blade. And you now have a saber of sharpness.
Awesome.
Yes, which means that you have the potential to hack off limbs. It also means, just so you're aware, you can actually make it light up as well.
Okay,
I think that's part of the.
But I have this red candle.
The red candle you can move around without having to hold it. You can leave it, but the sword you have to have in your hand.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna rename it though. I'm gonna rename it the Menarest Officer Saber Level 2.
There you go. 2.0. The glow, when you light it up, the glow actually comes from the band of metal on the inside. That sharp wit blade that has been embedded into the officer's saber.
Very cool.
Yeah, awesome. Well, very cool. Okay, we are going to fast forward now 3 days of travel. Somewhere around noon on the third day, you are traveling along the river. It's a nice worn path at this point. And I want everyone to make perception checks as you are walking along the path through the forest along this river.
Joff got a 16.
Nari also got a 16. We're twinning.
Pine got half of that, an 8. Guess he's a half sibling.
Abby got a 17.
Just had to show us up.
Yeah, casual, no biggie, you know.
Pine, as you're riding along, you're singing. I think it was "It's My Party" and "I'll Cry If I Want to" yourself. So you don't notice this, but Ebby and Nari and Joff, as you guys are riding along, you see up ahead on the left and on the right are these kind of bushes, but you can see that the bushes, it's like climbing vines and things. They've covered over something, some kind of either a big rock or something, and it looks like there is one on the right side of the road and one on the left side of the road. And that's what you guys see as you are going along the path.
I'm having flashbacks to the Neverending Story and the oracles that shoot lasers at people.
Oh, this is so much better. Yeah, in fact, Yastin rolled a 3 on his perception check. He's probably trying to learn the song that Pine is humming to himself. He's like, wait, it's my party or it's your party?
It's my party. It's a song of my people.
Why would I want to cry?
Perfect. All right. Very good. Okay, so Ebby, Nari, and Joff, you guys have noticed these two kind of mirrored, kind of overgrown structures of some kind.
Yastin, were there civilizations that perhaps lived in this area previously?
Yastin says, why do you ask?
Well, you just don't often see that kind of symmetry in nature. Look at these stones over here.
He pulls up short.
What's the matter, Yastin? Ebby's kind of starting to walk. He was going to start walking over to one of those stones on the left, but he stopped when Yastin stopped.
Yeah, Yastin is going to dismount, and he is going to let his Alaton kind of wander a little bit, and he is going to walk up towards these structures. And then as he's walking up, he says, I didn't realize we were so close already. This is the boundary between Tallhart and Stormfist. And Nari, you would now recognize this, although the last time you came through, this was not these two structures. You know, growing up here, that these are two like statues of like big, strong warriors carved out of wood, but they have definitely been overgrown. And you would know, Nari, that never happened before, that the Stormfists would actually clear these off and keep them well maintained, and now they have been overgrown with ivy and vines, that kind of thing.
I hate ivy. I have so many bad things to say about ivy. Don't even get me started on that stuff.
Well, you are then extra ticked off at this ivy.
I am irate. Nari's going to take her axe and she's going to really get at the root of it and hack it down and try to get these statues free from this menace.
Okay, so Nari, you're going to climb down off your beakaboo, and you are going to go up to which one? The one on the left or the one on the right?
The one on the right.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, you start trying to kind of clear it off. You can see that some of the bushes come off really easily, and some of them have wound around very, very tight around this statue.
Joff will dismount too and say, Nari, do you need a hand? Are you trying to clear off all that ivy?
Yeah, but you got to get it from like the roots, and we're gonna have to come back year after year. This stuff is invasive. It's gonna be a big deal, dude.
Oh man.
I mean, how often are you planning on coming back here?
Well, at this point, I don't know. At this point, we got to take care of these things on the regular, so we better figure out who's in charge here and see what's going on.
Yeah, Nari, it looks like nobody has been here to keep these things clean for a long time. And can I tell you guys a quick story about ivy? I was helping my brother clear some ivy one time with like tools, like I had a hoe and everything. And as I'm clearing out the ivy, guess what I found in the ivy? I found a hoe and some clippers because somebody else tried to clear the ivy and they just gave up and literally left their tools and walked away because that's how much ivy sucks.
That's great.
So Nari, you start kind of pulling on these weeds and trying to clear off this statue. Yastin is kind of standing in the middle of the path. Anyone who wants to can make like a insight check or perception check. There's also this statue here on the left side that is also covered in ivy.
Pine will ride up next to Yastin, and he'll try to look to see what Yastin is kind of focused on.
Okay. Make an insight check.
There we go. There's my 16. I'm a twin again.
There you go. Fantastic. So, Pine, as you're kind of go up to there to talk to Yastin, you can see he's got these big antlers. They're not as big as like the elders, but they're definitely mature adult antlers. Not the biggest that you saw in the town of Woodbridge, but he is an adult. He is
a modest rack.
We were going to confine that to that episode.
Sorry.
He is a seasoned traveler, seasoned warden of the Tallhart lands. And you can say he seems uneasy. And he is looking northwest into Stormfist land. He is standing basically at the line between these two statues and not going any further. And he's just kind of looking north and west. You see him like scanning the trees and scanning, left and right.
As Nari is kind of hacking away at these weeds, she's going to kind of investigate the statue and see if she can notice anything different or anything strange or anything about it.
Why don't you make a nature check, or nature or investigation, one of the two. You pick.
I'll give her the help action as I'm kind of helping her pull the ivy off.
Nice, cool, because I rolled a 4 and then I rolled an 11.
Okay. The statue looks pretty much how you have always seen it. It looks like it's been a little bit more worn by like rain and wind and things like that. So as you're kind of clearing off some of the ivy, there's places where the wood has become, like the carving has become a little bit brittle. And so you can kind of chip pieces off if you're not careful. And that's about all that you notice. So Ebby, you're still on your caribou, and Pine is on Crumbles. Yastin's Aelaton has kind of wandered kind of up north of the road, still in Tallhart land, and is kind of grazing in the grass. And then it's a gas, baby, can you dig it? And then the two, Matt got that joke.
I can dig it. He can dig it. She can dig it. We can dig it. They can dig it. You can dig it. Oh,
let's dig it. And then the two beakaboos are actually down. They are wading in the river, kind of sticking their beaks down into the water and coming up with like fish and like things in the water. So nobody is doing anything with this statue to the left.
Ebby is kind of going over that way to kind of trot around it and investigate a little bit.
Okay.
Just looking for kind of anything outside of the ordinary. Like, I don't know if anybody's been hacking at it with an axe or or if maybe the vine growth is unnatural, like trying to see if he can discern anything like that.
Okay. Why don't you make a quick nature check or investigation check?
Sure. Let's do nature. I got a 7. Oddly enough, the druid has not a very great nature score.
Is the druid proficient in nature?
Yeah, he is, but because it's intelligence based and not wisdom based.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that
that's
makes sense.
awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, no, everything looks natural. You also get the impression that this one has become brittle as well. The wood is, it's not been treated or anything. That nobody's been putting, I don't know what they would even use, like wax or anything like that, to preserve the wood. And so it has become brittle with the sun and with the rain and with the wind.
Got it. I think Ebby's going to kind of turn about, and noticing Yastin's kind of his trepidation and the wary look that he's kind of directing towards the northwest, Ebby's just going to kind of say, Yastin, tell me a bit about these borders. What were your altercations with the Stormfists like? Did you often meet at this intersection or in these areas? Or tell me a bit about the history here.
He doesn't stop looking. You can tell as he talks, as he speaks back to you, he's talking, but you can tell he's preoccupied with scanning the kind of the horizon, kind of scanning through the woods. He says, "No, years ago, before the Stormfists closed off themselves up in the mountain, this land was much like Tallhart land. We would travel back and forth and trade, and occasionally, yes, there were skirmishes. Oftentimes, we would meet here to negotiate some kind of a disagreement here at these two statues. But no, lately, it's not. Can you feel it? It's not the same."
Yes, and who moved in when the Stormfists left?
Creatures from higher up in the mountains have moved down. Who exactly has taken over, I'm not sure. But I do know that sometimes our wardens will travel into Stormfist lands, and sometimes they do not come back.
You say creatures, like, are we talking like Arctic peekaboos? Are we talking like the great northern caribous, like the one that I'm riding here? Or are we talking like, winter wolves? Or is it perhaps like the great Arctic sheep that'll, kind of roam up on the rocky areas on the slopes?
It's falcon wolves, right? It's falcon wolves.
Falcon wolves? I've always wanted to see more falcon wolves.
Or perhaps the platybear?
The platybear, a rare and majestic beast, if I do say so myself.
Don't even speak its name.
No, he says creatures angry, creatures dangerous. And as he says that, what is everyone's passive perception?
Ebby has a 15 passive perception.
Pine has a 13.
Nari has an 18.
Joff has a 17.
So Pine, yours is a 13?
Hell yeah, it is.
Okay, so everybody
But Pine.
but Pine gets to, oh gosh, this is going to be so brutal, gets to make this save normally. Pine has disadvantage.
Ooh.
As this giant white spider drops down out of the trees. You can almost see the mist coming off of its back, like the lines of freezing cold air kind of emanating from this gigantic tick spider creature as it drops down and it turns towards you and it breathes a cone of cold that will hit. I think it will hit everybody.
Ouch.
This is not going to be good.
Everybody except for Nari, just according to the map, should be able to get my +3 to this saving throw.
Bless you, my child.
That very well might save you. Here we go. I need Constitution save difficulty 17.
What?
From yes. From everybody. Oh my gosh. Con 17.
Oh!
Nari rolled a 7.
Pine rolled a 17 and a 6, so I have to take the 6.
Ebby rolled a 16, and then plus Pine's 3 puts it at 19.
Joff rolled a 9, then plus Pine's 3 to 12.
Okay, let's see here. We've got
This was a really
Yastin.
fun campaign, Paul. Thanks for DMing. Wait, what should we play next?
I think Yastin got like a 10, so he failed as well. Let's see here. How many is this going to be? Oh gosh. That's 40 damage.
What? Whoa!
Ebby, you take half.
Okay.
Anybody who has resistance to cold takes half.
Hey!
I think that includes Nari and Joff.
That's me too, so I only take 20.
Sorry, Pine. We love you.
Brr.
Oh, I didn't
Also-
make a save for Crumbles.
Yes, I was going to say that also includes Crumbles and the Caribou.
Oh.
Wait, at half damage on save. Crumbles can't make it. Crumbles is gone. Crumbles has a max hit points of 19, so even if he saves, he's taken
Oh,
enough
no!
to knock him out.
I would
Crumbles,
bet you
poofs.
a caribou, if it's like the pack horse or draft horse, it's probably the same thing. He's probably toast.
Your Caribou... So Crumbles disappears like instantly. Pine, why don't you make a quick dexterity save to see if you can land on your feet?
Yay, more saves!
Crumbles disappears out from underneath you.
That's a 12.
That's a 12. We'll say you land on your feet. That's a 12. That's
Okay.
fine. Crumbles with the freezing cold, this blast of white, and then instantly there's like this kind of wavy Aurora Borealis kind of blast that kind of shoots up into the sky as Pine Crumbles disappears from underneath you. Ebby, make a dexterity save as your Caribou falls down dead underneath you. Frozen
Ooh.
solid like a tauntaun.
You guys should have invested in these peekaboos.
Yeah, seriously.
The peekaboos are actually out of the way because they're down by the river.
Yeah, so, I mean, poor Polkin just toasted right after that. After his whole, of course, I'm just another slave animal out here to haul people up the mountains and now dead under my
He's
feet.
like, my line ends with me, and so ends the majestic line of Pulkin, the Caribou King.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Ebby rolled an 18 on his dex save.
Fantastic.
Plus 3, so it's actually a 21.
So Ebby did a front flip and landed in a superhero pose on this dead caribou.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and roll some initiative.
Pine rolled an 18.
Nari rolled a 10.
Ebby got a 14.
Joff got a 24.
And this guy got a 10.
It's clobbering time.
And Yastin, ooh, he got a really good roll. He got 20.
Yeah, Jordan, it is clobbering time.
It's totally clobbering time. Our initiative rolls all go before El Deuterino.
Oh, yeah.
El Deuterino.
How is Yastin looking?
Yastin is bloodied, for sure. But he looks like he's not like on death's door or anything like that. He is standing, and he actually, as soon as the blast hit, he kind of turned his head. He took it full force. He didn't save, but he turns around and he's already got a bow and arrow ready to go. Joff, it's your turn.
All right. Joff is going to mutter under his breath, "Ancestors, guide my blade." And he's going to cast Ancestral Guidance. And he's also going to give this buff to Nari and Mr. Pine. So whenever you make an attack roll, you can add a D4 to it.
Nice.
And then Joff will run forward a little bit, maybe about half his speed. He doesn't want to engage the spider tick thing until someone else is there.
Got it. It is Yastin's turn. And Yastin, the first thing he's going to do is he's actually going to head straight north. And he's going to shout out, "Spread out! If he sprays us all again with that, we're done for." And then he is going to shoot twice. Let's see. He got a 23 and a 14. The 23 will hit. He's going to deal 16 damage with one shot. And then the other shot goes wide. And then Yastin's turn is over. It is now Mr. Pine's turn.
Okay, well, Pine is, he'll say,
Crumbles, no! I'll have to use a spell slot tomorrow to bring you back.
He doesn't really say that. What he will actually say is,
The craven fall and are consumed. Sword of Infernos.
and he is going to rush up to the spider tick with all of his movement. It just he can just barely make it to him. And I will do a couple of attacks with my new sword. So, first attack. Does a 14 hit?
No.
Roll a d4 to see if you can.
Oh, yeah, D4. Sorry, the first attack would have been actually a 17. Does that hit?
It barely hits.
Okay, all right. And then my second roll was a 26. So the first hit's going to deal the extra fire damage and light it on fire.
Okay.
So the first hit will do 9 slashing.
Okay.
And then plus 2 fire damage. And then, you know what? I'll throw a Swordmaster's Fury on there as well. So that will be an extra 7 damage from the 2 other strikes.
Nice.
And he's on fire now. Second attack will be 10 slashing damage.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 9, 11, 17, 18, 28 damage.
Perfect.
Okay.
Is there anything else that Pine wants to do?
Yeah, second Swordmaster's Fury, level 1.
Okay.
So, that's 15 extra damage with those extra 2 swipes.
That's huge. Fantastic. This thing is on fire.
It's on fire.
Why don't you make a quick perception check, Mr. Pine?
It's a 19.
When you hit this thing with fire, you see it rear back and instantly suck in a whole bunch of air, and you can see almost like this mist starting to come out of his mouth, this cold, freezing air. And Pine, you don't know how you know, but somehow you just know that instantly his breath weapon recharged.
I'll say,
I thought fire was a good idea, but avoid it, please.
and then that's my turn.
All right. Oh, shoot. How much damage did you do with fire? 2 damage to fire?
Yeah, it was 2 fire damage.
Okay, the fire did seem to be extra effective.
Well, I mean, play it by ear, but I think he's gonna breathe on us again.
All right, fantastic. All right, Ebby, that brings us now to you.
All right. I think Ebby's going to hang out back here. I don't think he's going to move at all. But what we'll have him do is he will go ahead and whip his cloak out to the side and get that power stance, that rock and roll power stance, and summon the unicorn totem and drop it kind of on the path between Joff and exactly where you placed it. Yeah, right on the path there, so it kind of gets everybody.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to, if it's cool with you, go ahead and use my action to use Erdos's word on Pine.
I am cool with that.
Cool. And we will go ahead and heal Pine for 6 healing, and then everybody gets healed for 7.
Awesome.
And that is my turn.
It feels great, but I still couldn't stand up to another one of those breath weapons.
Nari, it's your turn.
Okay, well, Nari is not super stoked about this, but she will run up as close to Pine as possible, which I think should be within striking range, and just hack at this thing with her axe, because that is not cool for that to be around.
Perfect.
And that's a 21 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay, and that is 12 damage.
Okay.
And then again, a 20 to hit.
That will hit.
And that's 14 damage.
Nice.
Take that.
Is there anything else you wanted to do? Any bonus action or anything like that?
No, I think for now, I think I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Now that brings us. Okay, the field has changed a little bit. Okay. As far as the breath weapon now for this spider, which you can see he rears back his head and he's looking for which target to go for. He can hit either, we'll say, either Ebby and Pine, or he can hit Nari and Joff, or he can hit Yastin. Oh, he's going to go for Yastin.
Wait, hold up. First, he has to make a Constitution saving check to see if he's still on fire.
Okay, let's see if he's still on fire. Oh, he rolled a natural 20. So the fire goes out, which is actually probably a good thing because then next round he'd take fire damage again, and then it would refresh, because I think he takes damage at the beginning or at the end. Do you remember?
It's at the beginning of his turn.
Okay, okay. Yastin is going to try to make a Constitution save with a natural 1. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, Yastin.
Wow, nat 20 to nat 1.
Austin, no.
But he got 7 extra hit points, Paul. I don't know if you know that.
So here comes this breath weapon, which deals 8d10 cold damage.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, that is massive. That is 54 damage. But just to Yastin, who drops. He is covered in the crystals of white skin and crystals and ice. His hair is kind of blown out behind him and frozen in place, and he actually does not drop. He's stuck standing there, frozen. He will make death saving throws, but he is definitely in the process of dying. Okay.
Well, I hate that.
Joff, your turn.
Joff is going to run up to the creature and kind of skirt his way around him to be opposite Mr. Pine. So, on the complete opposite side of the creature of Pine. And he's going to make an attack with his scimitar from there.
Okay.
That is it's still, even if I rolled a D4, it's still not going to hit. I rolled a 10.
Yeah, that's not going to hit.
And then with his offhand, he's going to come up with the chakram, see if he can. That one might. I'm going to roll the D4. I rolled a 15. I can do a D4 of 4. So 19 to hit on that one.
That will hit.
For 10 psychic damage and then 13 precision. So 23 damage total.
Wow, that's a great hit. Okay, that brings us now to Yastin. He is going to make a death saving throw. A 13, that's a 1 in the positive column. Okay. Pine, you're up.
Okay, well, Pine is going to, again, try to just skirt around this thing again so that we can be, we can kind of surround it so it can't get away. And also we're not in the same cone of cold line. So I'm going to go ahead and take another couple of strikes against it with my new sword. So, does a 17 hit? Did we say that?
Yeah, 17 hits exactly.
Okay. So that first one will do 7 slashing damage.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and do a second level Swordmaster's Fury.
Okay.
So I will say,
Unleash with precision, Swordmaster's Fury.
and 3 more swipes come out for 14 more damage.
Okay.
And then for my second attack, I'm going to go ahead and just continue wailing on it. 19 to hit for another 7 damage. I'm rolling minimum damage on my normal hits. But I'm going to go ahead and do my last first level Swordmaster's Fury.
Okay.
12 more damage.
So your Swordmaster's Fury hits are getting pretty good, but everything else is not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. Yeah, that was a good hit. Good round for you. Yeah, this thing is definitely hurting. The 2 front of his 8 legs are kind of a little bit more claw-like, and you managed to cut the left one off altogether.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anything else you want to do? Bonus action or anything like that?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and say
Field Marshal, sir, I ask your aid.
and toss out Kenexestock. That's a 19 to hit with it.
That hits.
6 force damage.
For 6 force damage. Nice.
So I had 2 rounds. I have 1 spell slot left.
That's paladins, man. All right, very cool. All right, that brings us now to Ebby. Ebby, what are you gonna do?
I think, oh man, brutal. Let's do this. Let's move Ebby the 30 feet of movement towards Yastin.
Okay.
As a bonus action, I want to shift the unicorn totem to be kind of right next to Nari, just below her. But so that way we're still all kind of covered.
Okay.
And I'm going to again cast another Erdos word on Pine, healing him for 7, and then everybody gets another 7. And I'm hoping that would also apply to Yastin and help maybe hopefully stabilize him.
His eyes flutter open, and actually, as you cast that, you can see some of the frozen frost and stuff kind of melts off of him as his body temperature rises. He still is definitely like he looks frostbitten and cold, but he's not like straight out of the freezer anymore. But his eyes do open up, and he's still standing actually because I flavored it that he never actually fell because he was frozen. So there you go.
Nice. Okay. Cool. And that's it for Epi.
Okay, Nari, it's your turn.
All right, well, Nari will breathe a sigh of relief seeing that her homeboy is not completely dead yet. And she will use the Axe of the Adjudicator for a 17 to hit.
That will hit.
And then she is also going to use its charge and see if she can get this spider to submit to her power.
Is it a wisdom save? Is that what it is?
I think so, DC 13.
DC 13. He rolled a 4, which with a +0, it worked.
Nice. Grovel before me, you little tick spider.
So on his turn, he will grovel. You have one more attack left.
All right. 13 to hit. Do I still get to roll the D4?
Yep. Roll the d4.
Nice. Okay. Damn it. Okay, so 14 to hit.
Oh, so you miss. And it is now the ice spider's turn. And the ice spider turns towards you, Nari, and you see it literally kind of curls its legs underneath it, and its head drops down to the ground right in front of you, waiting for that killing blow. It is essentially prone.
I'm killing it.
And that is its turn. Oh man, that was clutch because he doesn't just have ice breath, he's got other attacks as well. So, all right, Joff, you're up.
All right. Joff is going to strike out with his scimitar. And the creature's prone, right?
The creature is prone, yes.
So I got, oh my gosh, I rolled an 11 and a 13. I'm going to roll the d4 to see if I can't. Hey, I got a 4.
You hit.
Nice.
And so 9 slashing damage and 9 precision for 18 damage.
Oh, nice. As it bows its head to Nari, waiting for that killing blow, Joff kind of, I guess, what do you do? Jump up on its back and stab it through the top of the head or something?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, perfect. And then as you stab it, you see all the legs go flying out to the side. It starts to shake and it starts to quiver, and then it stops moving. And you have this giant snow spider dead in the grass next to the road. And we're going to cue victory music.
Nice.
What's good snow-themed victory music?
When it's cold outside, it'll be okay.
Oh gosh, that's true. All right.
Always. Sorry. Okay. Keep going.
You're fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, Yastin kind of he shakes himself and kind of checks his hands. You can see his hands are shaking from the cold. He starts kind of clapping them together, stomping his feet. He's just trying to warm up. What is everybody else going to do? The unicorn is still here for a few, like 45 more seconds. And Kenny's X-Stock is floating around.
Pine is going to rush over to Yastin and kind of help him, like steady him with and give him some commander's morale as he does, and say,
That thing is far too large to travel in packs, am I right?
He says, "Yeah, yes, yes, they are solitary creatures, but they don't normally come down this far out of the mountains. So cold, so cold."
It's okay. It's okay. Here, take some of my commander's morale.
And how much are you going to give him?
I'm going to go ahead and give him 20.
Okay, perfect.
Pine, how are you doing?
I am at about 3/4.
Okay. Yastin, how are you feeling?
I feel much better now, but I don't think I can help in a fight like that again. I think that with the cold and with my hands not working, I feel like I would be a liability. Perhaps we should make camp and rest and warm up before venturing further on.
I think that's a great idea. Allow me to fortify you a bit more as well. And just to kind of help spread around the healing while the unicorn totem is still in play, I'm going to cast with a 3rd level spell slot another Erdos's word, but this time on Yastin.
Okay.
Just to top him off. 11 healing, but then everybody gets the additional 7, including him.
All right. So he is looking much better. His hands stop shaking. He manages to kind of get the arrow that he had knocked in the bow. He kind of puts it back in his quiver at his waist, and he kind of reslings his bow and kind of shakes himself a little bit.
Will this corpse attract scavengers? Should we move on before we settle down?
So it's about noon right now. He says, probably yes, but probably not before nightfall.
So we could rest here for an hour or so and then head on.
Yes, or I'm feeling much better. I mean, if we needed to travel now, we could to get clear of this thing.
Nari wants to kind of like poke around this thing carefully, and like just kind of see if she can get any clues as to what it's doing down here. They're not usually in this area.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead and make a nature check or a survival check.
Survival is 16.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, so Yastin's, he said that it came down out of the mountains. Usually they don't come down this far. Nari, as you're looking at this thing, you just get the impression that there's nothing here to keep it away. So it's probably expanding its territory. But it is interesting that normally they only come down, like these spiders, you've heard of them before. You haven't necessarily like encountered them, but they prefer the cold, the very, very cold. And you would not assume that it is cold enough in the valley right now for this to feel comfortable, right? For this to actually want to be down here and live down here in the valley. Maybe in the heart of winter when everything is covered in snow, but not right now. So you're kind of at a loss, and the only explanation you can think of is some kind of for lack of a better word, mystical protection that the Stormfist tribe, the Stormfist clan gave this area that's no longer there because they're no longer here. Does that make sense?
Sounds sus.
Or it was chased away from its actual hunting grounds by something far larger and more dangerous.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I did hear the platybears lived here.
Exactly.
They lay eggs like woolly oxes do.
They're delicious,
Of course.
That doesn't make them not terrifying.
Please tell me that platybear eggs are soft-shelled, like crocodiles.
Oh, that would be great.
I don't even want to think about that. That's just disgusting. All right.
So
Permit me 10 minutes. I have to do something.
I forgot that I had this spell prepared. So Pine is going to first collect Kenig's talk, and then he's going to whistle and call out,
Crumbles, here boy! Crumbles!
and whistle and call that out for about 10 minutes as he casts the spell Summon Crumbles with his last 2nd level slot.
Oh man! So as you do that, then after about 10 minutes, you can see something moving in the woods, kind of off to the northwest, to the northeast, out of the Stormfist land, and you see that kind of Yastin's Aelaton had bolted a little bit during the fight, but it has now since come back, and Crumbles actually comes up right next to the other Aelaton and is kind of standing next to Yastin's Aelaton. So Crumbles is now back on the field.
Yeah, and yes, the summon Crumbles spell has verbal and somatic components. So the verbal is calling Crumbles here, boy, and the somatic is whistling, like putting my fingers to my lips and whistling.
Oh, I thought you were gonna like bend over and like pat your thighs. Here, boy.
Oh yeah, that too.
Here, boy.
Yes.
I don't know if you could pick up my patting of my thighs, but
Oh, yeah. Could totally pick it up. Very clued in.
I can dig it. You can dig it.
oh gosh,
Love digging
All right.
going on.
All right, are you guys ready to move out? Or you guys want to do anything here with this big spider? What's your plan?
Well, Ebby, you don't have a mount anymore.
Well, I can conjure something for the time being, or I'll just change into a mount.
Okay. I was going to offer that you could ride with me, but I think you might be too heavy.
You've done it now.
What are you, 300 pounds?
Yeah, something like that. There is a distinct glittering in the eyes of Ebby right now.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
I would love to, but honestly, I might crush your poor Beekaboo, and so I think I might have to just pass.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's the thought.
Did you just praise yourself? You're like, well, at least I thought about it. Like, I'm nice.
Yes, I did. I did just praise myself for this.
Oh, gosh.
I won't forget this, Joff. Ebby pauses, puts his hand on Joff's shoulder, stares into his eyes, and says again, very deliberately, I will never forget about this.
Joff kind of pushes the hand off and says, all right, well, let's get back to the road.
Yastin looks more uncomfortable now than he did when he was frozen.
Oh, don't worry, Austin. It's this whole will they, won't they. It'll pay off sometime in chapter 5.
Oh my gosh. All right, Yastin kind of whistles for his Alaton, and his Alaton comes over and he mounts back up. And he says, well, shall we be heading on?
Are any pieces of this creature valuable?
He shrugs. I wouldn't eat it.
Well, food for, like Monster Hunter, make armor and things.
Like a venom gland we could use.
Yeah.
If you guys want to make survival checks and start to dissect this thing, that's fine. Go ahead. That's not a problem. Yastin is not going to. He is going to kind of continue to watch the off to the northwest like he was before, but even more wary if possible.
Yeah, Pine's not really the kind to take a trophy, so he just was asking.
Yeah, it might be better to just kind of move on as we go.
While you guys are deciding that, Ebby is totally just ravaging through this body to see if there's anything useful.
So the chitin on the spider, it had an AC of 17, and it was all just natural. So, I mean, the chitin could be used to make armor of an AC 17, probably if you wanted to gather some of that up. But that's going to take some survival rolls and some time.
I mean, I do kind of hate this half plate that I've been wearing, but I think I'll stick with it for now.
It saved your life a couple times.
Spider Abby.
Oh, man. So what's worse, spider butt rope or spider freezing breath?
Honestly, at least I was fighting freezing breath. I don't really want, like butt rope. Like, I had to initiate it, and it was really bad.
Be sure to be gentle with it. Don't give it a tug.
Oh. And just like that, I am creeped out. Okay. Are you guys going to take off then?
I think so. And Ebby's going to kind of robotically reconfigure. I think at this point, Yastin will now see him robotically change. So like he'll take off his traveler garb, stuff it into his sack, and actually reconfigure into like a metallic elk kind of thing.
Oh, awesome. Yastin looks confused. I will say that you guys had that whole conversation. Wait, well, huh? What's going on? What? And then you guys kind of explain, that whole situation. But Yastin, as he's mounted up on his Alaton, staring at Elk Ebby, kind of looks over at Nari and says, past this point, I don't know the way as clearly as you do.
Yeah, I can take over from here. Honestly, I appreciate all you've done the last couple of days. And I know that was a rough battle we just faced. If you want to head back home, I won't be offended by it.
Why don't you make an insight check, Nari?
9.
Okay. He says, no, I will see this through. I will see this through as a Tallhart. I feel it is my duty.
Well, your assistance is much appreciated, my dude.
All right. Awesome. So now, Nari, you're going to be leading the way, which means if there's going to be a survival check, you're going to make it, even if you make it with advantage. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, let's head back out on the trail. I want Nari to make a survival check. You can make it with advantage because you're going to be getting help.
Rolled a 18.
All right, awesome. And with an 18, As you guys start to travel along the road that runs next to, or the path that runs next to the river, you guys can see that the trail that you're following has become harder to follow. It is becoming more overgrown and lost under bushes. You can see there's places where like part of it may have washed away and fallen down into the river, kind of fallen down into a bank, or down the bank and into the river. The traveling is harder. The land seems, I mean, it's not tamed wilderness, but there is this feeling of this is wild land. This is untamed land. This is unprotected land. And Nari, as you're traveling, you feel it almost in your bones. Remember, I don't know if you remember this, episodes and episodes ago, you were talking with Dellen, who is the soft paw, kind of that tall, thin elf woman who lives kind of in one of the valleys up here in the Glass Mountains. And you were talking about, how you felt like the mountains were calling you. And she said something about how like the mountains are part of you, they're in you. And you feel that feeling, but this feels like these mountains, this valley is wrong is not the right word, but not familiar to you like it used to be.
Man, you guys, I got some bad vibes about this place.
Well, and it might be because you haven't been up here for 6 years, and you kind of built a new home, but you feel like it's more than that. You feel like the Stormfist protection, the Stormfist aura is gone here. So, but as you travel with your excellent roll of an 18 survival, you guys manage to travel for a couple more days, actually, until you get to a point where, Nari, you know that the Stormfist winter home, which is where normally the majority of your clan will kind of pass through the winter down here in the valley, you know that you are getting very close. And as you come around kind of a bend in the river, the path, you can see the path leading towards this settlement in the distance. And you can see, I forgot to say that now the last couple of days it has started to snow. Not like a blizzard, but just kind of flurries. And the snow has started to definitely stick and settle in places. So that also adds to some of the discomfort of the travel. But as you come around this bend in the river, you can see the river, it leads down to this kind of this mountain lake. And on the far side of the lake, maybe even a half mile distant, you see this settlement, this winter home.
Does it look like anybody's home?
Why don't you make a perception check?
19.
No, it does not look like anybody's home. In fact, it looks like nobody has been here for quite some time. As you glance around, you can see some of the houses that you recognize. Like it's just like the back of your hand. You've been here so many times. Every year you'd come down the mountains to this place and spend your winter here. Roofs have fallen in places, right? Just from of disuse, right? It's hard to see a lot at this distance, but you can tell the feel of abandonment here.
Bad vibes, my guys.
So this is where you'd spend your winters growing up?
Yes, although obviously it was much more lively back then. But by this point in the year, my family should be back in the area. It's incredibly odd. I mean, obviously all of this is incredibly odd, but they should be back by now.
I'm really sorry that you have to see your home like this. Let's see what we can do about that.
Yeah, Nari would definitely want to head towards town and kind of rummage through the buildings, see what she can find.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you have a house here that you grew up in.
Yeah, no, and I definitely want to go there, but kind of investigate all of it.
Right. As you guys ride into this settlement, you have to kind of skirt around the lake. There's a little place where your mounts kind of have to crawl through some water to they ford a little stream that leads into the lake. The main river that goes up in the mountains kind of heads further off to the north and west. But you do have a couple of streams that come down in here and they feed into this lake. So you do have to wade across a couple of streams. But you come to this settlement. You see numerous houses, some bigger, some smaller, but none of them are very large. Some of them are literally like 20 feet by 20 feet. Some of them are, maybe twice that size, but really nothing very big here in Winterhome. So as you guys come along the edge of the lake, you can see, Nari, there's a little space here in town where there's like 5 houses that are right up against the lake. And one of those houses is the house that you spend a lot of time in. So you've got basically like an L shape of houses, 3 running north and south, and then 2 of them head off to the east there. There's like this little grouping of 5 houses. And your house, Nari, your house is the 4th house.
Nice. That's a good house.
And it's a small one. It's like 20 feet by 20 feet. You can see all these houses have porches. These houses are all kind of built up off the ground. And there's porches and staircases leading up to the porches. And Nari, you would know that these houses, they are small, but they all also have cellars that you access inside that you'd hold like a root cellar where you'd keep like vegetables and potatoes and, turnips, that kind of thing. You keep things down there to keep them fresh throughout the winter. You'd use it for storage. So these houses, though they're not big, the majority of them, there is like a whole second level that's just for storing food underneath.
As we are kind of coming into town, Ebby's going to change out of elk form and kind of walk next to Pine and Crumbles. And he's going to kind of whisper, not really whisper, but just kind of talk to Pine softly and just kind of ask him, in your years in military service, I'm sure you saw a fair few number of towns that had been pillaged, sacked, or razed, or at least had seen some sort of fighting. Do you see any indication here that there was any kind of a scuffle or a skirmish here in town?
As you say that, Ebby, before Pine makes any kind of check, Pine looks into the center of this area by the lake where Nari's house is that she grew up in, and underneath the snow, Pine, you spot it looks like a dead animal. And as you look at it even from this distance, it looks like it's a dead horse laying there in the snow.
Well, the dead horse is not a good sign. To be honest, we tried to keep our soldiers in line. Raiding, pillaging, that was against the rules of engagement. We would take what was needed for our armies, but we'd leave homes and families intact. The fact that there is a dead animal that hasn't been taken care of, this looks like not only was there potentially combat here, but that they left in a hurry. They weren't expecting to return anytime soon.
Could it possibly be disease or something? Should I go first and check to make sure it's safe?
Yeah, I'll go with you too. I seem to be pretty hardy when it comes to diseases.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. So Ebby and Pine are going to go off into kind of the center of town.
Anybody else want to come and risk fantasy bubonic plague?
COVID-20.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Too soon.
I know. Nari will be going towards her house, and she'll be kind of like checking out that area.
Gotcha. Yeah, Yostin's going to kind of come down to the lake. He sees that, like, there in the lake, there's like an old rowboat, and it is definitely not floating. It's just kind of some garbage, basically, now that's washed up on shore. And he's just going to kind of start looking at this rowboat and glancing around the space. Joff, what are you up to?
Joff is going to hang out outside. He doesn't really have much reason to go in, so he's just going to hang out with Yostin.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's start with with this dead horse. Pine and Ebby, you guys are both, investigating this. So why don't you guys, since one of you can help the other, I want a survival or investigation check.
I could roll a survival.
Yeah, I'd help you out with that.
Cool. 21.
21. As you look at this horse, it does not look like this horse died from any kind of disease or even from the cold weather. It is very easy to see that there are claw marks and bite marks. And with your very good roll, you can see that you're looking at this horse. It looks like this thing was killed by these claws, and then the bites happened later. So claws killed this thing, and then bites were something was eating this horse. As far as how long ago, it's hard to tell because of the snow, because of kind of being preserved by the cold weather. It's hard to tell.
Got it.
You suppose it was too frozen for whatever was eating it to finish its meal?
Perhaps, unless whatever came in to try to eat it was similarly dispatched.
Or chased off by something larger?
I fear something to that effect.
Maybe we shouldn't let Nari go in alone.
Well, Nari's already in her house.
Whoops.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
All right. Nari, you have gone to your house. Did you go in?
I was thinking I would be on the porch while they're kind of investigating the horse and just kind of peeking in the window, seeing if there's anything obviously wrong.
The windows are very grimy. In fact, the last time that you saw your house was maybe at this point like a month ago, when you had that vision and you saw Winter home and you saw that it was abandoned, and the house looks basically like it did in your vision. The windows are grimy. As you look in, there's no light. There's no heat coming from this house at all. You can't really see anything. Right now, it's about probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can't see anything in the house. You know that the sun is going to start going down here very soon. Within the next 2 hours, it will be dark. But it looks like from out here, not much to see.
Yeah, I'll bust on in.
Okay. When you go in, the first thing that you notice is nothing. There is like nothing left. There used to be beds kind of in this main room. This is where you guys would all sleep. And then there's like a back room. Basically, this house is split in two. The front is where you would all sleep and where you would all eat. And the back is where you would have like more of a kind of the storage area where you were using like the things you were going to use that day, as well as kind of your cooking area. And like there are still like bed frames, but no bedding. There's a table, but the chairs are gone. There is no plates and pots or anything. There's no furs on the floor. It's like everything was taken away. There's nothing here. I don't know what all Nari had here that maybe she kept secret or anything like that, but it looks like everything that was, quote unquote, valuable is gone.
Yeah, I don't think Nari would have stored anything there just because of the way that housing's not necessarily super permanent.
Right.
But I think she's visibly upset about how empty the house is, but it does look like it's abandoned. Can she kind of poke through any of the rubble and see if there was a struggle or if it was like willingly taken or anything like that?
Yeah, why don't you make an investigation check?
9.
I mean, it looks like it's just been taken. I mean, whether there was a struggle or anything, you can't tell. It's clean. So clean as in nothing's here. There's definitely like dust and dirt and, kind of some like a musty smell.
I think I can speak for all of our listeners, Paul, when I say, what's the Gringe situation like in here?
Oh, it's
How
cringy.
cringy.
There is some serious Gringe in this place. I forgot about that word. That's great. All right, Joff, you're just kind of hanging out?
Yeah, just hanging out outside with Yastin.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and make like an investigation check? If you're hanging out with Yastin, he's looking around, so why don't you make an investigation check?
Joff got a 23 on his investigation.
23. As you're kind of kicking around, Yastin wanders over a little bit further kind of south, and you're with him. And as you are kicking around, Joff, you see there's like a pile of snow that as you walk up to it and kick it, there's something solid underneath it.
Joff will bend down and push the snow aside to inspect it.
You uncover a body. As you push aside the snow, you find this figure. It looks to be a male, a human, probably anywhere between 5'10" and 6 foot, wearing armor and furs and leather, still holding a sword in its hand, a shield strapped to its arm, and it is laying here. It's pretty stiff now from being frozen and covered in snow, but there is definitely a dead body here. I need everyone to make perception checks.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Pine rolled a 13.
Nari rolled a 22.
Joff got a 14, but I'm going to do his Squire's going to help him out a little bit.
Okay.
And turn that into a 22.
Ebby had rolled a 15.
All right. Everybody except for Pine. Pine, you are still bent down examining this horse.
Yeah, Pine yells out,
Good news, everyone! The horse didn't die from disease. It was brutally killed by some creature with... yeah.
As you say that, everyone else can hear the crunching of snow. And as you look around you, you see from the north, from the east, and from the west, figures start to come in towards this area of the settlement. You all see these large, basically the size of like a woolly ox, and it actually is kind of covered in fur, long fur, like a woolly ox. But it's where Porthos is like dark fur. This is white like snow, with huge tusks coming out, almost like with a long trunk, almost like a mini mammoth, probably about the size of a horse. And following behind on the east and on the west, you see these massive 19, 20 foot tall bears, huge bears, come following along behind these tuskers. And as they approach the center of town, I need everyone to roll initiative. But that's going to have to wait till next time.
Oh! But the platybears showed up.
remember my roll, it was a 17.
The platybears.
20.
These are not platybears. There's no duckbills or anything like that. No eggs. These are massive, giant bears, and they are coming into this settlement to see who has invaded their turf. We'll get to that next time. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. I hope you guys have had a great time. We had one very hairy fight, and we will have another one coming up next time. So hopefully you guys can't wait. It should be a good one. Until next time, I hope you all have a great time.